Good evening, everyone. Tonight's show is about as a man thinketh, so is he. The money rejection complex part two. I'm going to give you a brief overview of me going into this topic more deeper at a later time. But tonight is the deadline for all business owners who are a partnership and have an S corporation. If you file your extension, which your taxes was due on March 15th, so on March 15th of every year, the taxes that are due for a business is for the partnership and the S corporation. So anyone that owns has a business that is more than one person or that owns this business, this is considered a partnership, and your taxes were due on March 15th. And anyone that owns a S corporation or an S corp business, your taxes were due on March 15th. If you decide to do what they call an extension, was for Form 7004, that had to be filed either the day of, which was March 15th, or before March 15th to get a 6 months extension. And the 6 months extension for a partnership in an S corporation is due today, which is September the 15th, which makes 6 months from March. From March to September is 6 months, and today is the deadline for you to file your tax return if you haven't. And also, the rule of thumb is when you have a partnership and an S corporation, you must file the business return first, which is March 15th, which is due. Then, once you file your business return from the partnership and the S corporation, you receive what they call a K1, which is part of your income and expenses. Which, in other words, it's like it's like receiving a W-2 from your employer. But the K1 is what your business will issue you as one of the partners and as the shareholder in the S corporation. So if you have, let's say, for example, four shareholders in the S corporation, which is equivalent to 100%, and 25% for each shareholder, which is equivalent to 100% maximum that you can have for an S corporation. And you will give out four K1s to each shareholder so they can use that to file on their personal tax return, which is due on April 15th. So you're going to file your business return. If you have it, you did a 6 months extension, which is due this evening today at September 15th, which is 6 months from March 15th. And you have, then you will give out a K1s to the partnership of the business based on the percentage of ownership also of that business. So I just want to put that out there tonight. If you haven't done it already. So this topic is as a man thinketh, so is he. The money rejection complex part two. Um, I would advise many of you to go to YouTube and look at, for example, look up my video as the money rejection complex, the money rejection complex by Marvin Smith. I would advise many of you to go look at that to pretty much get an idea. And what I want to do is I'll probably upload it here so you can watch it. What that video was about basically is going into the spirituality of how one think and feel about money, and that all started in the womb. That means that what we are, what our father and mother is, and whoever they is what we inherited. So our parents gave us the ideology when it came to money. So, for example, like myself, and as I mentioned, I'm going to make a brief video, but I'm going to go more into detail in this. Um, Growing up in my household, my mother was on welfare. So, by her being on welfare, she never had a checking account. She never had a bank account. The only time we had a bank account was when we had received a settlement. So we had like a passbook. So during that time, for anyone familiar in Brooklyn, New York, there was a bank called Dime Saving Bank. They was down on Fulton Street, right across from the Albee Square Mall, that big gray building, which later on became Chase. So Dime Saving Bank was around for a long period of time. and dime saving bank went under like around either late 80s or early 90s. So dime saving the bank, even if they're not around because you don't see them in New York, Pennsylvania, California, they could be around, and I'm gonna look that up. But when I was young, that was one of the banks, dime saving bank, and we only got an account when we came into a settlement before we moved into Albany Projects in Brooklyn, New York, which was February 14, 1976. Prior to that, we lived at 561 Gates Avenue, which was in Bedford Stuyvesant. So when I became of age, I got the settlement, like around 18, and my mother got a settlement from an accident that where we lived at, when we was on Gates Avenue before we moved to Albany Projects. And I was a little boy at that time. So with that said and done, prior to that, my mother never had a bank account. And if anyone know in the urban communities across America, what we call the ghettos, majority of most black and brown, black and Hispanic neighborhood, we don't have banks. We have check cashing place at that time. And during that time, the check cashing place where you would get my mother would get her welfare check, and I remember clear as this day. She would get on 11th and 26th. So she would get her welfare check, and then she would go and cash it at the check cashing place. There also you will also receive food stamps. And if anyone can remember, the food stamp books for, like, for example, the $10 bill came in the booklet. It was purple. Then you had the $5 bill. I think that was green. Then you had the $1 bill. No, there was booklets of food stamps. So my mother had got food stamps and she received welfare. And I never saw my mother write a check because we didn't have a checking account. And like I said, until we came to the settlement, my mother never wrote a check. She never balanced. She never balanced the checkbook. I never saw her do those things. So she didn't have that. So at the check cashing place throughout the ghetto or urban communities all across America, many of you can relate. They live black and brown. So when I say black and brown, I'm talking about black people, and the brown people will be the Hispanics, Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, that we live together throughout the urban cities of America. And growing up, she didn't have all those things. So from that point, she, I wasn't taught how to balance a checkbook. I wasn't taught how to write a check. I never saw a check. So going to the check cashing place, you get what they call money orders, what would be Western Union money order, or MoneyGram money order, or you would go to check cashing place to send money by Western Union or MoneyGram. You would also go to the check cashing place to pay bills. At that time, you had Con Ed, you had Brooklyn Union Gas. Um, at that time, there wasn't no cable. At that time in the 70s, I don't recall cable. Um, we didn't have it, so they sometimes at the check caster place, somebody might be selling movies, clothes, or someone had a set where they were selling movie clothes, oils, and incense. So that was where that was our financial institution where we went to go do things. So my mother would take me as a little boy, but as I came up, she wasn't educated about money. Why? Because my grandmother didn't teach her and my aunts and uncles about money. Growing up, they was very poor, living in poverty in the South as Geechee people, Geechee Gullah people from South Carolina. So my mother wasn't really educated. That did not diminish her for being the woman who it was, a great woman, a black woman who took care of me, and did the best that she could. So when I look at my upbringing, I never said that I didn't have. I always had food, shelter, and clothing. I didn't have a lot of resources, but growing up, my mother always made a way. I'm 52 years old. I've never missed a meal except if I was fasting for religious purposes or spiritual purposes. But I always had a meal. But my mother didn't teach me about money. And also, many households throughout the ghetto, in the urban area, urban community throughout America, you don't discuss finances at the table. You don't talk about you don't talk about stocks and bonds. You don't talk about life insurance. Life insurance is a wealth transfer. Many of you don't have life insurance because a lot of you don't value your life. And that's what rich people do. And I call it people that have the mind of abundance. Now we separate in this country and all across the world. We separate through classes, rich and poor, upper, middle, lower class. So society is not only broken down by color, but it's also broken down by gender. It's also broken down by social, socially in terms of economics, as far as also where you live. So growing up, my mother never had a savings account. So my philosophy, ideology came from my mother and what she did. So when I grew up, became a young man, as I mentioned, many of our parents, they did not teach us at the dinner table or quiet time, or even when we went to church. We didn't learn about money. We didn't learn about finances. As a matter of fact, being rich was almost like it was a sin. And they even used that scripture and said it's easier for a poor man to get into heaven than a rich man. The eye of a needle. And in my opinion, growing up, I never heard anyone talk about money. I never heard of mind of abundance. I never heard of going out and investing in stocks, going out investing in bonds, meaning what you're buying bonds on the state level, and then all that money that grows interest, that's tax free. I'm talking about bonds that you will go, let's say, to uh, treasurydirect.gov, where you can buy bonds, and the money, the interest that's on that is tax free when you withdraw it. We didn't talk about real estate investment. We went talk about stocks, capital gains, even capital loss. We wasn't talk. So those things were not talked about because growing up, the level of education for some was what it was. So many of us had that mindset. We was taught that money don't grow on trees. Money is the root of all evil. I'm here to correct that. Money is not the root of all evil. It's the lack thereof. When you are lacking something, and whatever it is, you will go out and get it. If you're lacking money in terms of rent and you can't pay your rent, you're about to get evicted. It's the lack of having money to pay your rent. It's a lack of money that it's a lack of money where you're not allowed to buy food. It's the lack of money for so many people that they can't pay their bills. So it's the lack of money, the lack of knowledge, what you was taught, and how you feel about money. Many of you feel that it's a sin to be rich. Many of you feel envious of the rich. And if you're envious and jealous and have hatred towards the rich, you can never become one because rich and poor is a mindset. As a man thinketh, as a man or woman thinketh or think of themselves or perceive themselves in the world, so is they, so is he, shall become that very thing that he see himself as in the world. So when you have a loser mentality, life is going to deal you, put you in a position to lose. A lot of you, I call that self-fulfilling prophecy. The way you think is putting yourself in a position to lose. A lot of you, my mother coming up, we didn't have a savings account. My mother never saved money. She only did what she thought was what she knew. But that didn't diminish her from being a great woman and a great mother, a mother who sacrificed, a mother who gave me. Even though I didn't have growing up, we had the Procare 69ers. I didn't have that things. My stuff was hand-me-downs. My mother took me as a little boy. I would go with her on Eastern Parkway, which was not too far from where I lived. We would go up there in the Jewish area where my mother would go there, get the clothes out their garbage, because they would throw things away. And my mother would go to the store and get disinfected. So as a little boy, I wasn't attached to name brand. Whatever she put on my back was the name brand, and that was called love. And that's how I knew. And as a little boy, she taught me to be self-sufficient, which I use today in life. So for a lot of children that grew up around their parents, they was not taught on a financial level. That's why as adults, you don't understand what two things. And I always say that if you could do these two things in life, and people come to my office, taxes, we was never taught taxes by our parents. We was never taught taxes in public school, middle school, high school, and college. We was never taught taxes and taught that there's different income levels. Not everyone is equal. Those that are work for somebody who are called employees, they're in a different income bracket than someone who does stocks and trading, which is called passive income. There's a different as far as taxes, how each one is taxed. If you own a business, it's called self-employment tax, which is at 15.3%. For a sole proprietor, individual, single member LLC, you're being taxed at 15.3%. When you own a corporation, an S corp, the business don't pay taxes. It's called a pass through, like a partnership. So it passes through the business. You get a K1 so that you can file it on your personal return. And this is what they call a C corporation. A C corporation is a separate entity which pays its own taxes. So these are things that was not taught to us. Was it the fault of our parents? No, I can't blame them. But what I can say, it was also evident at that time. They only did what they knew. Is that an excuse? No. When you are lacking something, and what the Lord said, Hosea 4 and 6, I'm not a religious person. I read the Bible back and forth, and I can break it down. But I don't go to that level unless I'm pushed to do that. Hosea 4 and 6 said, my people, and I like to reinterpret, the people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge. What is knowledge? Know how, or knowing how to do something, right? So many of you go to college and you pay a tuition. So in life, you have to pay tuition for the very thing that you need to learn. There's nothing in life that is free. If anyone says, well, you don't need money, love can't buy money, I tell you that you're a liar. Money buy you the things that you love. But here's the problem: when you put money above you, that what you put above you, what you look up to, that what you put in front of you will worship. But you can have money. It's the idea of making money work for you. So I just want to touch a little bit of it. And I want to talk about how to make money work for you on a basic level. I'm not a financial planner. This is not a magic pill. You're not going to get a check in the mail for $10,000 if I send you a bottle of water or a bottle of spring water. Call it, just pray over it, call it holy water. All of a sudden now, you got a check in the mail for $10,000. I am not Peter Popoff. I am not selling you a gimmick. And a lot of times these people here, they are giving you the poison and they will sell you the cure. That's the game of life. They are giving you the poison first and they will come back and sell you the cure. And many of you are not cured yet because you don't know where the root of how to cure whatever you're going through. That cure has to start where? In the beginning. In the beginning was the Word. You are the Word. And the Word that you are the Word that was in your mother's womb and you became flesh. We are what our mother and father is. And I'm gonna go on a deeper level with that. Whoever our mother is, we sit in her placenta, and there's that umbilical cord. And I'm gonna compare it to a computer. A computer has a hard drive. There's the physical components of a computer. So whatever your mother's going through, she's backing that all that emotions and what she's feeling is being backed up into that hard drive. That hard drive will be us. And that umbilical cord is like a network cable which connects the computers in the office at that time. Before now you have like a wireless network. So that cable is like a network cable that connected me and us to our mother while we sit in our mother's womb. For sometimes 9 months. And whoever our mother is, she's backing up what she feeling, what she think into that child. Now while Paul said I was shaping where? In his mother's womb. He was also shaping by what? What he learned from his father and mother. And many of us come from single parent homes. So in spite of that, many of our parents did what they knew. Can I get mad? No. How can I get mad? Look at the man I am today. So the only thing we didn't have was resources. That's all. Our resources was limited, but love was not limited. The way my mother felt about me was not limited. That love was never limited. That love was unconditional love. When I say unconditional love, that means she loved me under any condition. And I might say something controversial. Only our mothers can love us unconditional, and our wives and our girlfriend love us with condition. Because our wives and girlfriend can never surpass the love of our mother. Why? Because like Christ said, what greater love is when someone lay their life down for you. Our wives did not lay their life down for us because we didn't come from them. But the part that they lay their life down is when they have our children. There's a difference there. So mama will always love you unconditionally. She will always, no matter what, mama will always be there for you if you had that kind of mother. No matter what you do, mama will always be there. Why? We came out of her. She changed our diapers. She wiped the snot from under our nose. When we had a cold, she put Vicks salve on our chest and put us under the blanket. Because we were dependent on her. And it's a beautiful thing. My mother, she never took drugs. She never drank alcohol. So I'm blessed that I wasn't addicted to drugs or alcohol. My mother secured her womb with me. And she had other children, but she secured her womb with me. And I'm thankful for that. Most parents, these children that are on drugs or addicted to drugs, whatever drug it is, addicted to alcohol. If the parents are alcoholic, the child will be born addicted to alcohol and drugs. So I was blessed for that, which gave me clarity as a man to understand that what she didn't give me is my responsibility to go out there and research. See, the reason why you don't have is not because of someone else. It's because of you. You play the blame game. You're blaming the Democratic Party. You're blaming the Republicans. You're blaming this country. That's an excuse. When people come from other countries as Asia, Chinese come in, open up a Chinese restaurant in your community, they're not born here. You born here. Then you got the Japanese coming over here. Everybody comes to America and benefit off it. While all black people is given slavery and things that happened in slavery. Slavery is a part of our history, but that's not who you are today. You should have health, happiness, prosperity, success, and the abundance of all things are given unto you. But many of you have a poor mentality. I play life to win, and I do whatever it takes to win. See, a lot of people look at people that have the finer things in life, but you don't realize what that person had to go through to get that. You're looking at the outside of it. You're not there when it all started. So every man and woman, boy or girl, have a start in life. No one can stop you from achieving greatness, but first you must believe in yourself that you can do all things, no matter what anyone says. And when you're on your journey and path, don't tell everybody. But there are dream killers out there, and many of you are trying to get Many of you want the approval of your parents to allow you living up to the expectations, not of yourself, but trying to please somebody else. And when you're trying to please somebody else, you lose your identity of who you are and what you're aiming for. So I'm going to talk more in depth about this topic, and I'm going to be going on more topics and what I see. Starting a business, which is one of them. How many people are persuaded to become entrepreneurs, however, they don't have the right guidance. And as I mentioned before, that's why I said that what many are called, few are chosen. Many will call themselves financial experts, but few are knowledgeable. Few have your interests best at heart. Many are called, few are chosen, even preachers, so-called prophets, life coaches, relationship experts. Many are called, but few are chosen. And this saying, they will give you the poison and sell you the cure. And nowadays you have to be very careful because why? Many people are losing their minds. The love of many shall wax cold. The temperature outside, even though it's warm, but there's ice running through people's veins. No one values life no more. And when you don't value life, you don't value nothing around you. You don't value your environment. You don't value yourself. And when you don't value yourself, you value nothing. Nothing means anything to you. There are people who get up in the morning and they premeditate on what they're gonna do. Some people do it as a sport, killing as a sport. But that's why I said you have to be wise. Watch. A lot of you out here so focused on praying so much that you're not even aware of what's going on around you. You just shut the world out. You're a fool. You're a fool when you think that way. There's nothing wrong with serving God as your personal savior, whatever you believe in. But as long as you live in the world, you should know the very thing that's going on in the world. You need to look at what's around you. There's no excuse for these things. A lot of you so caught up in yourself or caught up to what you believe in, you don't want to learn anything. That's why, like Malcolm X said, that what? He that stands for nothing falls for anything. A lot of you fall for anything because why? A lot of you been given the poison and it will come back around and sell you the cure. A lot of this poison come through, they talk about relationships. They're going to give you the poison. And they package it up and then they try to sell you the cure, using you as a lab rat or a guinea pig for their schemes. Health. Every day someone is coming out with their own opinion about this diet, this diet. Take out the word diet. What about what? Health is wealth. They are giving you the poison. A lot of you doing certain things that when I was growing up, it's all about eating in moderation. A lot of you talking about you on this diet, that diet, look around, you still the same weight or you get bigger. Why? Because they're playing on what this the self-image psychology. For women, it's all about how they look physically. So women are judged off their beauty, this world say. A lot of you in religion being given poison, given what? Selling what they doing what? They're selling you the they're giving you the poison and selling you the cure. A lot of you don't read. So when it comes to finances, a lot of you getting upset, oh, the rich is this and that, because you're being manipulated and controlled by the media. It's not the rich. You just don't know how to play the game. You don't have the knowledge. It's not hidden from you. The Lord said, what? My people were destroyed for the lack of. What are you lacking? How many of you sit up in the, how many of you take the time to read financial books? For example, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kawasaki, Think Rich, Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. How many read those type of books? How many of you go out throughout the day and subscribe to like Forbes magazine? Read Forbes magazine or read the Wall Street Journal. That improves your reading, your comprehension, and your financial education. How many of you download Credit Karma or Nerd Wallet to learn about credit on a basic level? So I want to be talking to you about credit. I want to be talking to you about finance and what you can do. Because wow, many people have developed bad habits. We are creatures of habits. Poverty is not a beautiful thing. There's nothing real about that. It has nothing to do with white supremacy. A lot of you are stuck and don't know a way out because you're depending on other people to come and rescue you and do things for you. It's like a wise said a man was down for so long, the thought of him getting up never crossed his mind. And that's where a lot of you at. The Lord said, I am the comforter. Comfort is like a bed that you lie in. So a lot of you have become comfortable lying in, being lazy. A lot of you have become your bed is your comforter on a spiritual level. And the bed that I'm talking about is your mind. You have become comfortable, stagnated. You have no desire. A lot of you are what? Existing, but you're not living. You are like the walking dead. That's why the Lord said what? You should know every tree by the fruit of their labor. What labor are you putting in? You want the government to give you reparations for what? What you gonna do with it? Go out and buy a BMW? What you gonna do out? Go out and get some gold fronts? What you gonna do out? Go out and get name brand clothes? Instead, why don't you the same Jordans that you buy from Nike? Why don't you go buy Nike stock? The same Prada bag that you buy, why don't you go invest into Prada stock? So when every time somebody buy that bag, you get dividends off of that. If it's paying that, now you going out here doing whatever you want, and I don't criticize that because why? I never count a person's money. That's what you want to do. I don't do that. But if you do that, that's your prerogative. But no one is going to give you anything. You're sitting around waiting for somebody, waiting for a handout. You're sitting around waiting for Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton to come rescue you. You're listening to your preacher tell you that what? The kingdom of heaven. No, the kingdom of heaven is in you. The Lord said, I can do all things in Christ that strengthens me. In Hermetic philosophy, he said, well, when the teacher is ready, the student shall appear. A lot of you sitting there waiting for someone to give you something. Okay? And a lot of people are what? Giving you the poison and trying to sell you the cure. Why? Because you're not thinking for yourself. You're not thinking at all. A lot of you don't read at all. So when you don't read, you don't comprehend. You become defensive. And now you play the victim. When you think you are the victim, life is going to make an example out of you. And every time you get ready to do something, it's not going to go right. Because the way you think, and you need to examine the people that's around you. Because if the people around you that's on the same level, how can you go any higher than that? So I want to talk about this money rejection concept. You reject money by the way you think. You reject money by the way you was taught first. A lot of you believe that money don't grow on trees. Money the root of all evil. It's better to give than receive. Then the superstitious part, yeah, the right hand. That is true. My right hand itch. I do get money. I ain't gonna lie about that. But a lot of people are superstitious about money. A lot of people think it's feel bad when they feel they don't deserve anything. That's a low self-esteem, lack of self-worth that you see in yourself. You feel you're not deserving of anything. So you say, well, it's better to give than receive. That don't sound right to me. I need to receive before I can give. Now you don't say that. You don't say I want health, happiness, prosperity, and success, love and money and abundance of all things. You don't even ask that in your prayer. A lot of you too busy wasting your prayer on your son and daughter who's in and out of jail. Why are you wasting your prayer on them? Why are you casting your pearl? Your pearl was valuable to you, to them that's unworthy. A lot of you sitting there praying to the heavens and to the universe, and your child's out there doing mischief and harm. Your husband ain't acting right. You're up there praying till sweat come off of you. You sit up there crying, praying every day, fasting, starving yourself. Why they just doing the same thing every day. You wasting your prayer and your time. Pray for them once or twice. If they know better, they'll do better. Let them go. And start focusing that prayer on you. That same energy that you have for others, have it for yourself. So as far as the money part, I want to be talking about the savings part. And my way of doing it is a little different. And a lot of people do what I'm about to teach. But what I'm about to teach is kind of like if he was addicted to cigarettes. I don't smoke, so I don't know how many in a pack. I wanna guess. I say there's 15 cigarettes in a pack. And you're trying to wean your way off the addiction of cigarettes. So let's say you got a pack of cigarettes. It's 15, you threw away one, you smoke 14. Then you got pack the next week, it's 15, you throw away two, you're smoking what, 13. So each day you're throwing it away because when you try to stop something right away, it doesn't work that way. That's not how life works. Okay, we're all creatures of habit. All of us have a habit. Every one of us have a habit. We are creatures of habit. If you wake up doing the same thing every day, the same routine, that has become a habit. If every time you get stressed out, and most women when they get stressed out, they go shopping. To, why? To distract them. But in reality, they've given themselves what? The poison and trying to seek the cure and going out buying, getting their hair done, all that type of stuff, it still remain unhappy. You got to go down and fix at the root. What triggers you to do the things you do? It's like money. A lot of you don't pray for money. A lot of you don't appreciate money. If you saw a penny on the ground, you wouldn't even pick it up because you don't value money. I didn't say worship money because I'm the master of money and money serves me. Money loves to be in my presence. Money loves to fill up my bank account. So there's a spiritual side of money, which starts with a mindset. If you have a poor mentality, money will not stay with you. That's why I said in the book of Haggai, it said what? Your pocket or your bag should be filled with holes. Meaning that what? Your pockets will have holes in it because money will never stay in your pocket. Why? Because you're giving it away to people. You sit up here giving away your last to people. That's not intelligent to me. You gonna give away your last to somebody? A lot of you giving away money out of guilt because your child is on drugs or whatever. You're trying to out of guilt, what you call love, trying to get them to change. A lot of you put other people before yourself. That's why you don't have nothing. You have to learn how to be selfish too. It's a balance, selfish and unselfish. A lot of you are unselfish for the wrong reasons. You're unselfish for the wrong reason. Giving away your time, your money, your resources, and those same people that you give it to, when you need something, they can't give you nothing. All of a sudden, now the phone, you calling them, they don't answer the phone, or you text them, they don't text, or you email, oh, I didn't get the email. They got it because they love taking from you because you love giving. You don't want to receive nothing. So I'm about to close this up. I got to go back and do the tax returns and stuff like that. But I want to share more in depth. And I'm going to call it, even though my show is called The Everyday People by Marvin Smith, but we're going to have what they call a money rehab series, where a lot of you need to go into rehab. And that's what Paul said, the scripture said what? The renewing of the mind. It's not going to be easy, but a lot of you have to change the way you think. I mean, the things that you do are a reflection of who you are and the way you think. If you don't have, it's not because you're cursed. Look at yourself first and the way you think. Look at the people around you. Look at them. But first of all, focus on yourself. You need to get to a place where it's quiet. A lot of you don't have peace in your home. And when you don't have peace in your home, you can't think. A lot of you being distracted about how your husband acting up. He's physically violent towards you. You got a man, you got a boy posing as a man who you taking care of. You got the children acting up. The mother's sick. You got all these things happening around you, and most of all, your home is not even peaceful. Wow, because a lot of you can't even a lot of you don't have the money to pay your rent. A lot of you don't have money to put food on your table. A lot of you barely keeping the lights on and the gas on. You're struggling. So when your home is not peaceful, you cannot prosper. When I say peace, I'm talking about pieces. P-E-I-C-E-S. I'm not talking about P-E-A-C-E. A lot of you, your home is in chaos and destruction. And it's hard to function and think under those type of circumstances. And a lot of you are so sick mentally and emotionally that it's going to take a miracle for you to stop doing the things that you do. A lot of you are addicted to your television, watching all these silly reality shows. That's not your reality. You sit up there watching somebody else control your mind, how the way you think and feel. That's what these reality shows do. A lot of you spend more time looking at the soap operas, Young and the Restless, As the World Turned Up, you look at that. A lot of you sit up there looking at Every day you're in church and you don't make no time for yourself. Okay. A lot of you on your cell phone. A lot of you on Facebook every day, telling everybody all your business. Oh, I'm going to. I woke up at 8 o'clock in the morning. I brush my teeth. I'm getting ready for work. I'm going to a club. Everywhere you at, everybody know your business. You taking selfies. You got women on here 40 years old, 50 years old, acting like they're young. They ain't got no money in the bank. Nothing. Meanwhile, your children out here doing mischief and harm, selling drugs, doing whatever they can. You're not paying no attention to them. YouTube and social media is raising your children. The iPad is raising your children. The notepad is raising your children. Instead of giving your child a book on finances and education, you giving them a notepad or an iPad or put them in the latest fashion. There's nothing wrong with that, but you're not feeding their mind. A lot of you get mad at the Donald Trumps and the Elon Musk of the world. Instead of getting mad at them, let me see how they doing it. Let me go read books on the rich so they can sprinkle some mama's cooking on me, like Kwame Brown said. Sprinkle some of that mama's cooking. Sprinkle some of that wisdom and not understand that you're lacking. It's not their fault that you're in your position. Like Michael Jackson, look at the man in the mirror. The same mirror that you point is pointing back at you. There is no excuse why you don't have. You have because you have not because you don't know how to ask. Ask yourself a question. Why am I in this condition? And if I'm in this condition, whose fault it is? That figure gonna point right back at you. A lot of you loving for the wrong reasons. A lot of you waiting on God to do things for you. That's not how life is. I challenge you. Go out in the middle of the road, go out there in the middle of the road and lay in the highway and see what's gonna happen to you. The coroner is gonna come. Not God, the coroner, to declare that you dead. And on your grave say, here lies the fool who died for being stupid and foolish and tempting God. Go do it. Trust me. What I say might sound funny, but that's a lot of people believe that. That's some people's reality. So I'm going to be talking about more. I'm going to talk about finance. I want to have guests come on my show that's going to educate you. Like I said, this is not a magic pill. I'm not here. I didn't come down from the heavens. I live right amongst you. This is not a gimmick or a game. I don't need your money. The only thing I need from you is your time. For you to sit down and make time for yourself and listen and educate yourself. A lot of you adults went to college, you haven't picked up a book since you've been in school. Probably can't read, having trouble reading. How many of you parents out there reading? Read a book. Do you have a subscription to Audible? Where you can do audio books or read a book? Shit, a lot of you probably forgot your ABCs. I'm being real about it. Because when you don't use your mind and exercise your mind and put knowledge into it, after a while you lose those very skills. How many of you out know how to do a resume? How many of you out there know about etiquette? It comes from reading. You're not going to learn those things by watching the reality shows, trying to keep up with the Kardashians. They got theirs. They got their money. And they work hard to get their money. No matter how they got it, they did whatever it took to get to where they at. A lot of you are oppressed by celebrities. Before they were celebrities, they was you. They just got an opportunity. What are you doing? Sitting around, wishing, hoping, saying this is what I could be, bragging to people, but you ain't got nothing to show for it. So as we move on, sometimes some things you might not like what I say. Sometimes I think a lot of people, they want the truth to be pretty. But you got to get to the ugly part. You got to go to a place that you've never been before. And the main thing that stops people is fear. Fear. A lot of you fear. A lot of you scared to be prosperous. A lot of you scared of success. So you depend on other people. And then you allow people to come in your life, give you that I call that The trick. I'm also gonna talk about the trap game. Trap. You trapped. I'm talking about the trap game. I'm gonna give you some game on the trap game. Now you meet a man or a woman, and then they just mirror what you say. You say, well, this is what I want to do. I say, yeah, I want to do the same thing. So now you stop what you're doing to help them. A lot of times, it's best. A lot of you not in a position to be in a full-time committed relationship. And if you're not, you need to focus on yourself. So now when someone come in your life, you're in a position to be with them and have them. Okay? Don't go into a relationship because you're lonely. That's the wrong reason. And a lot of you get distracted. As soon as you get a man, especially a lot of them, as soon as they get a man, because we know women emotions is like a pie. You split it. They can do a lot of things. But you get a man, all of a sudden now, you stop doing the very thing that you're doing. That man is just mimicking and becoming what you want him to become. They say, yeah, I'm ambitious, I'm goal oriented. That person that you meet should have been doing that before they met you. And when they're doing what they're doing, it's not a distraction to you. And a lot of times, a lot of you will purposely be distracted and go into a relationship because why? A lot of you fear success. A lot of you men, you go out and get these women, right? For the wrong reasons. Because as a man, my mother always taught me to be self-sufficient. I know how to wash clothes. I know how to sew. I know how to cook. And as a man, I looked at my father, who taught me that what a man should know the cost of his house. A lot of you men should not be moving in with a woman giving her husband benefits as a boyfriend. Learn to be on your own first. Pay your own bills. So when you meet that woman, now you're a man. A lot of men talk about they are providers. You know, it's between a provider and a contributor. A lot of you women, you go grab these men and then you blame the man and the man blame the woman for why they don't have. It's not their fault. It's all a game. It's all a game. Because life know who you are. And I'm gonna break down the acronym of life. Living infinite, forever evolving. You're always evolving. And for those that's in a dead state of mind, they're evolving further and further more into death. And when I talk about that, I'm not talking about death on a physical level or no existence. I'm talking about death, doing things that put them in situations over and over. And a lot of times people will, when I say everyone has an addiction, many of you are addicted to chaos. Many of you are addicted to dysfunction. So you have to reverse that behavior. And the problem with black people, they need to go see therapists. Go see therapists. You can go talk to your preacher, but you got people who are trained in behavior. There's nothing wrong with going with a therapist. Mental illness runs in my family. It does. I'm not ashamed to say that. I saw my mother go through a lot mentally before she died in 2009. I understand that even diabetes ruined the nervous system. So I've seen a lot through my mother. So mental illness runs in my family. I'm not ashamed to say that. Everybody got a drug addict in their family. Everybody got somebody who's crazy in their family. Some is more severe than others. That don't diminish you as a person. Everybody got one. Everybody got a transgender in their family. Someone's gay. That's their choice of life. Now you sit around here worried about those things. No. The more you keep looking at things that's going to distract you, you'll never get to where you need to go. And now you need to stop looking behind you. That metaphor of when Lot's wife turned into a pillar of salt. Because as she was leaving where they was going, as she was leaving Sodom and Gomorrah, she looked back. Meaning that what? She was looking back, look at the thing that she was leaving behind. She wasn't focusing on the kingdom of heaven, which is in front of her. If you keep looking back, you can never see what's in front of you. That's why she turned into a pillar of salt. And a lot of you have turned into a pillar of salt on a spiritual level. You keep looking back in the past. Yeah, looking back in the past is a lesson. But don't keep looking in the past to the point where you can't move forward. A lot of you don't leave the ghetto. Why you don't travel? There's many people that live in New York, never been to Harlem, never been outside of New York. A man or woman that travel gain wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. You get to look at other cultures. A lot of you stuck. And it's sad. I was stuck at one time. But I had to go through things to get to where I had to go. And I do whatever it takes. And I'm not ashamed about that. I do whatever it takes to win. And when you get to that level, like I tell my kids, I tell my daughter especially, I said, and I tell friends, when you can learn to say no, yes become easy. You can't be saying yes to everybody. When they turn back around, they saying no to you. How many people out there that you know that you do for that you will call them up right now that they can do for you? A lot of you giving out your last bit of money, and the person that you give it to, call them back. All of a sudden now, they tell you what, I'll give you your money back when I get my tax return, or I get my stimulus check. When that come around, you can't find no way around. No way around because you're giving off your emotions. You care about what people think about you. You care about what people feel about you. You want to be popular. You want to be loved by everybody. That's not life. Everybody on this earth don't love you. When people say, well, I love everybody, I look at you got to be crazy. No such thing. You ever met everybody on this earth to love them? Do the tiger love everybody in the jungle? No. Do the lion love everybody in the jungle? So where you get that mindset that what? You love everybody. You don't even love your own friends and family or children. How the hell you gonna love everybody? You sound crazy. But that's enough for this evening. I'm happy that you came to join me. You could have been any place else. And the next time you come in, wipe your feet off. And let's sit down and chat and talk. And I'm gonna be doing more of this. And you're gonna enjoy it. And I hope to inspire you. And I will inspire you. I'm not here to give you the poison. And I ain't trying to sell you no cure. So I say to everyone, have a good night. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your day tomorrow at work, whatever you're doing. Be careful, be safe. Watch as well as pray. Don't be a fool to tempt God. Say, you know what? I can go anywhere because I got the blood of Jesus. You a fool when you think like that. That's like you say, well, I'm going to go where the blood's at in their meeting. Because I got the blood of Jesus. See what happens to you. I'm going where the Crips at. Because I got the blood of Jesus. See what happens to you. I'm going into a dangerous neighborhood because I got the blood of Jesus. See what's going to happen to you out there. See what's going to happen. Don't tempt the Lord. Don't be a fool. Now you had that old mindset that, I'm not scared of nothing. No, you're saying it, but when you're in the situation, it's totally different. So I say good night to everyone. You stay strong. My name is Marvin Smith, and my show is called The Everyday People by Marvin Smith. Thank you very much. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you. Have a wonderful evening. Have a blessed night. Stay strong. And remember, health, happiness, prosperity, success, and the abundance. Health, happiness, prosperity, success, love, respect, money, credit, and the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, and the abundance of all things. Good night.